What is going on, ladies and gentlemen? My name is Stone Mountain 64. Today we're going to be covering a topic that has been very heated in the community. So take a chill pill, take a deep breath, relax, and let's talk about console wars. Now, it's been extra heated lately because we just got a lot of new information over the past few days because it was E3, where we got to really learn a lot about both the new consoles, a lot of new reveals coming out. If you haven't seen anything about it or don't know exactly what I'm talking about, I did a recap of both 2-hour events in about 10 minutes, so you can check those two videos out for the Xbox One and PS4, the recap of the E3 conference with everything you need to know, linked in the description below. This gameplay video that you're watching is some Black Ops 2 low kill streaks with a Sentry Gun 2, which was pretty interesting, and I was going up against a full team, so very enjoyable. The second gameplay also against a full team, and that one was smack talking me. You can watch me smack them right back with the Scorpion, but you can check that out or just listen to the commentary. And finally, before I do get started here, I might have somewhat of an Xbox bias. However, I am going to stay as objective as I possibly can. I do have prior experience with both of these companies. Their gaming consoles. I was huge in the PlayStation 1 and PlayStation 2. Both of those were my primary consoles at the time when they were released. I then later switched over to Xbox and then Xbox 360 because of the better online experience. And partly because of the fact that that's what my friends were playing. A lot of people really don't pay attention to this, but one of the main factors that makes your decision of the PlayStation 4 or the Xbox is what your friends are playing, because it's not compatible across consoles. So when I first chose the Xbox, everybody at my school, all my friends, I was in like 7th or 8th grade, something like that, and all my friends were playing on the Xbox Online, Halo 2, that was the huge thing, and so I wanted to get that too. I wanted to play with everybody. And that's a huge deciding factor for a lot of people, what your friends are playing. So you can't really judge people on their decision for that sort of criteria. But there is also a lot of other criteria. And for instance, right now, me and my friends are trying to decide on the PlayStation 4 or the Xbox. So maybe this will help you guys out too. Let me know. You can share it with them also. But let's go ahead and get right on down to some of the differences and some of the similarities. Let's talk about the similarities first. Now, when you're making a decision, really with anything, if the result is the same from both options, then it should not be a factor into your decision. Also, if it's not important to you, then that also shouldn't be a factor into your decision. So that's what I want to get out of the way first. First off, it's going to be $5 for both the PlayStation Plus network as well as Xbox. They're virtually the same. Might be a few pennies difference, but they're virtually the same. Now, previously, you didn't need to have a $5 subscription or the actual Plus version for the PlayStation network, but now you're going to be required to it. In the conference, they slipped this in without a lot of people even realizing it, because they said it while everybody was cheering for something else that they said right before. Good strategy and little cover-up by PlayStation right there. Might factor into your vision of them. I don't know. It doesn't really matter. But so it's going to be $5 for both in that sense. Now, they're also going to have 2 free games per month. They're going to be different games, and obviously there's different consoles, so there's different games to a certain extent. But Xbox is now going to offer 2 free games a month, just like the PlayStation has had for a while now. Now, a lot of people are giving criticism to the Xbox because, oh, you're just starting it now. But that shouldn't matter, because that's already something that happened in the past. You can't change that. But going on in the future, they're going to be the exact same 2 games a month. So unless you really have a strong preference for a console, it doesn't really matter too much. Something that does matter, though, and people are up in arms about, especially over Xbox, which PlayStation's going to have this same rule, is that they're going to give the ability to these these game developers, to charge to play their used games. So if you go out and buy a game for $30 and you come home, you put it in your Xbox, you want to play online, it's going to say you need to buy this code for $10. The Xbox One has been getting a lot of flack for this, but it's also going to be on the PS4. It's just the developers charging. It's not going to be the actual consoles. It's already here, too. It's on the PS3 and on the Xbox 360 today. When I found this out the hard way. When I first wanted to play Battlefield 3 at my friend's house, it said that we needed to buy a $10 code, and I thought it was BS, but then I just logged onto my account and everything was fine. So it's going to be the developers, the game developers doing this, not the actual consoles. Not that big of a deal to myself anyways, because I don't own any used games or plan on doing that. And another thing that is actually different is the Xbox is going to say if you've been on your friends list for 30 days, then you can play your friend's game without paying the $10 code. So that's kind of a benefit. Finally, though, I think the last thing that these things really have that are the same or indifferent to me is going to be the game decision for a lot of them. Not for all of them, but for a lot of them. Destiny, Call of Duty, Battlefield, Assassin's Creed, all of these games are going to be multi-platform, and they're going to be on both of the consoles. Now, there is going to be some exclusivity, though, with some of the games, and let's go ahead and start talking about some of the differences, starting with the games. Now, one thing I think maybe this is part of my bias coming out here is I love Halo. I think this is going to be huge on the Xbox, and that's one thing I would really love. Another thing, Forza. Forza is my favorite racing game. I know a lot of people are also going for Gran Turismo, but Gran Turismo is going to be on the PS3, the next one that's coming out. Forza, the next one's going to be coming out starting on the Xbox One, so that's kind of another benefit for myself. And also TitanFall. This looks like the next legendary kind of multiplayer game that I think could be really fun, and it's got a huge new variety of gameplay. I'll put an annotation, a link in the description if you want to check out that game, but it totally looks awesome. Now, the PlayStation has some exclusives as well. It's got Killzone, which is kind of their equivalent of Halo almost, but I've actually never played any Killzone, so I'm not familiar with that. Another one is the Final Fantasy. This is absolutely huge. They're on like, what, game 14 or 15 now? It's had a long time following, and it is extremely popular. PlayStation 4 exclusive. Also, Infamous Second Son. That looked like an awesome one. And the final thing that really got me excited during the PlayStation conference was Kingdom Hearts 3's now in development. I was a huge fan of Kingdom Hearts 1. I probably played through the thing 3 times on the PlayStation. But as confirmed by Square Enix on the creator's website itself, it's going to be on the Xbox One also. Therefore, that game is now an indifference point for myself. Next, we're going to talk about the controllers. Now, the PlayStation controller got a pretty big update, actually. It's got the same thing, same kind of controller feel to it, but it actually has a touchpad in the middle where you can, use it like a trackpad almost, like from a laptop. And it's also got a share button directly on the controller. Personally, the share button does not affect me. It's got an actual dedicated button, so when you click it, you can record your gameplay, or you can post on Facebook or Twitter that you're playing whatever game. Like I said, doesn't matter to myself, but might matter to a few people. The touchpad, I'm not too sure how that's actually going to work out. I have not had any experience with it. The main purpose for it is going to be to incorporate into games, such as indie games most likely, where you can, flick stuff, or you can use it as a cursor to move around on the home screen. Personally, I'd rather use something like the Kinect to move around on the home screen, just using my voice and actual hand controls, but more on the Kinect later. Another interesting thing that the PlayStation controllers had was recognition if you were playing split screen, which side you were playing on. So that way, your side of the split screen would actually be closer to your controller. So if you pass the controller, the split screen will actually flip, so that way you're always closest to your side of the screen. The thing with this is that most games are actually split with a horizontal line, one player on top of the other, not one player on the left side and one player on the right side. So it really won't make much sense. Let's talk about the Xbox controller now. They really didn't do too much updating with it. They made the joysticks a little bit better grip, better materials, obviously, and from reviews with people who have used it have said that the vibration is much more complex with now 4 individual rumblers and a little bit more complexity to it. I'm sure the same is with the PlayStation controller as well. Now, as for which one I think is going to be the better controller, I gotta warn you, this is a little bit where my bias is going to come in. I've been playing on the Xbox for 7 years, and I gotta say, I've gotten used to the controller. Where the thumbstick location is probably going to be the biggest difference between both of the consoles. So if I do decide to switch to the PS4, that thumbstick location is something I'm going to have to re-get used to. Back when I played on the PS2, I did have, some fluidity with it, but I really didn't play any FPS games at that time, so I really wasn't used to it. Therefore, I'd much rather have an Xbox controller. It's already an amazing design, and I'm already very fluid with it and really enjoy it. Also, because after thinking about it for a few days, the share button as well as the touchpad on the PlayStation controller are really not going to be that important to me, so I can eliminate that from my decision. The next, and maybe one of the most important things, is going to be the price point on these two systems. The PlayStation 4 is $100 cheaper at $399 versus the Xbox coming in at $499. The main reason for this difference is actually that the Xbox One is going to come with an extra piece of hardware, the Kinect, which is actually going to be required on the Xbox. Also required on the Xbox, which they're getting a lot of flack for, and I also disagree with, is you're going to have to check in once every 24 hours online, actually connecting to Xbox Live. Now, the problem with this is that if you don't log in for 24 hours, you can't even play on single player or an offline mode. You have to go on to check in. The reason for this is piracy and hacking protection, but it should still be at least 1 week. The PlayStation doesn't have anything that's required, and they do have its own version of Kinect that's on the PlayStation 3. However, they really haven't mentioned anything for the PlayStation 4. And I looked on their website, they didn't have anything about that on the PlayStation 4 as well. What they're focusing on, PlayStation that is the Vita, which is the PSP or their portable gaming system that kind of goes with it, which you're actually going to be able to play PlayStation 4 games on if you're on the same Wi-Fi point. To me, this really doesn't matter. If I'm on the same Wi-Fi point, if I'm in the house, I'm going to be playing on the Xbox. And if I'm away, I'm actually probably not going to be playing games. Like I said, personally, in the past, I was into portable gaming devices when I was younger, and we went on trips, things like that. I was more into it. Now, if I'm going to be gaming, I'm going to be at home with my full setup. If you wanted the full PlayStation experience, it would be $650 for the PlayStation as well as the Vita. For the full experience with the Xbox, you just need the Kinect, which, like I said, comes with every console. So let's talk about the Kinect now. In my opinion, this is the way that the future is going to be, really. It's just motion control and voice control, just telling your devices what to do. For instance, with the iPhone, which is also now getting very much improved with Siri. You just tell it what to do, and it'll write stuff for you. It'll open programs, it'll do whatever you need. Now the Xbox is taking that next step and kind of going into the future. I think this is one of the coolest things ever, personally, and I probably would have gotten the Kinect if it didn't come with it already. However, a lot of people are really saying that, oh, I don't want the Kinect, I don't need the Kinect, I wish it just came with the Xbox. But because it does come with the device and every single Xbox will have it, then the huge AAA titles can incorporate Kinect into their games as well, such as Witcher 3, which is going to be coming out at release or somewhere around there as well on the Xbox exclusive. You can cast your spells by just saying, like, cast Blizzard, cast Frostspell, or whatever they're going to be called while you're playing the game. So it allows more incorporation, which is something kind of cool, similar to the PS4 having its exclusive trackpad on its controller. Personally, I'd rather have the Kinect, even though it does come at a higher price point. The reason I would want to get it too is because it's not just incorporated for games. It actually has very good voice control, which can be used to navigate throughout the Xbox, telling it to go to play games, go to apps such as Netflix, play videos, go to TV stations, which is another huge incorporation that the Kinect is bringing in, as well as the Xbox. They want to be connected to your TV as well, so you can plug your TV directly into the Xbox and say, go to MTV, and it'll switch right over. And that's a big incorporation that Xbox is stepping for. Now, personally, I don't have TV, so this entire portion of the Xbox is going to be useless to me. So that is one major drawback, is that they spent a lot of time and innovation working on the TV portion of this when it's not going to affect me whatsoever. One really big thing that the Xbox has been getting flack about, though, and moving to the future, doing this voice command, having the video camera, you know, actual motion sensor, is that the Kinect is going to be able to watch you and listen to you in your room, and even when it's off, the voice command will still be on, because when the Xbox is off, you can just say Xbox on, and it'll hear you even when it's off, and it'll start the Xbox. It'll turn your TV on, it'll turn your cable box on, as well as your Xbox. I tried to read about why people were mad about this, and it looked like it was mainly because of an invasion of privacy. They didn't want to get hacked and then allow people to watch them. But for the most part, I think that Xbox is very secure. You have to realize that I don't think you or me is that important for anybody to sit and watch you playing video games or listen to your conversation when you're probably not in your room or in your living room anyways for most of the time. So I have a feeling that it's probably just a lot of the older generation people who are just scared of the change and scared of the future. Like I said, I really don't even think this is going to be an issue at any point in time where any of this stuff is going to happen, but that is some of the concerns that people are expressing. Now, Xbox has been very strong with their security. Everybody pays for Xbox, so they do keep everything very private, secure. The PlayStation, on the other hand, not trying to bag on it, but it is a fact that they actually lost millions of their customers' actual credit card information and all of their personal information to a hacking scam, and was down for over a month. So they have a worse track record in terms of security. So maybe I'm just one of the few who actually thinks the Kinect is a good idea and enjoyed the first Kinect, but I think it'd be pretty awesome to just walk in my room or wake up, say Xbox on, play Call of Duty, or go to Netflix, watch Doctor Who, you know, something like that. And it'll just automatically do stuff without having me to do it. Like I said, I think that's the way of the future, man. But moving back over to the PlayStation for another benefit there, they actually have much more support for the independent developers as well as the people who like those indie games that they create. They're actually being much more cooperative and more responsive and really being more open to those indie guys. Now, this is kind of a direct competition for the Ouya, which can also be a whole separate commentary, but the Ouya's new console only costs $100 and is essentially an Android system that actually is pretty much strictly for the independent guys. Lower graphics, but it allows you to play more of those low-key, easier, sometimes people would consider even more fun of game style. So what does that translate to? Well, a lot of those games are usually free or freemium, or sometimes very cheap. Sometimes, just a few dollars up to $10, sometimes $20, depending on how good it is. We see the arcade marketplace for the Xbox, which I'm sure will still have independent games, but maybe not as much support as the PlayStation will have, or maybe not as many titles and as much work put directly into it. Again, unfortunately for PlayStation, I am not into indie games. I like the AAA titles, the amazing graphics, not the low-res stuff that's more simple and old school. So that's really not a deciding factor for me. I actually got the Ouya, which is a $100 system that's directly for the independent developers, and I haven't even plugged it in. I've had it for over a month. I really need to do that, but I'm just so not into indie games. The one good thing about the Ouya, though, is that it really has retro games like N64 simulators, but I can do a whole nother commentary on that. My point is that indie games, not for me. The final thing I'm going to talk about is the online experience. This is the focus of my entire gaming experience, is online, multiplayer, playing with friends, talking. One benefit of that is with the Kinect, everybody's going to be able to talk on the Xbox. Already, Xbox has a much larger microphone community than the PlayStation, and especially better than the PC. So you can meet a lot of other people and get a better experience. Also, for my shoutcasting and for a lot of the YouTube series that I do, it'd be a little bit better to have everybody with microphones, am I right? Because people have the Kinect, they'll have the option to actually just use that as a microphone if they want to, and I'm really hoping that it is better than what it is now, because if you've ever played with anybody with the Kinect, you can hear all the background noise and the echo coming from their speakers. So that's one thing I really hope they do take care of. Also, Microsoft has a much better track record with the online experience. For one thing, everybody's paying the $5, so they can really keep it up and support everything. One of those things being the amount of servers. When they first started the Xbox, there was something like 3,000 servers for multiplayer. Then there was 15,000 with the Xbox 360, and I think that's how many there are today. With the Xbox One, there's going to be 300,000 servers. Every game is going to have dedicated servers, and it is really going to step up the online experience. Dedicated servers mean that you're not going to be connecting to somebody else who's going to be host, and there's not going to be these host migrations that are in Call of Duty. It's going to be more like Battlefield, where you're connecting to an actual server, and everybody's own internet connection will depend on their actual connection to the game. Therefore, not being dependent on the worst guy's internet connection in the lobby and allowing you to get a better gaming online experience. With the next-gen, PlayStation will also have, the $5 monthly fee. However, the people who are playing on the PS3 are still going to have the free access to the multiplayer, which, could draw back some of the things, because they actually will keep up support on the PS3, as well as they will keep up support on the 360, at least for the next few years. So I do think that the PlayStation will improve their experience. However, I do think that the Xbox will have a better online experience, as it has had for the previous generation. Another huge thing about the online experience that I cannot believe I forgot to mention earlier is that the Xbox One actually is going to get DLC early for their games, such as Call of Duty and Battlefield, two of the hugest and largest AAA titles that there is. Now, the games are going to be on both of the systems, but the DLC is going to come a month early, and that is a really huge difference, especially as myself as a YouTuber who's going to be covering all of that content and showing you guys all the different stuff. That could be a really huge difference, a full month. But after a month, sometimes it really feels old. Again, that's part of the fact that Xbox users are paying that $5 a month for their gold membership, and Microsoft has more money to spend to get those exclusive premiums. PlayStation is also trying to get some benefits for their PSN Plus members, who is going to be everybody on the PS4. And as of right now, they're getting early access to a few betas, one of those being Elder Scrolls Online. That being, they're going to get it a week or two early over the Xbox guys. This is similar to the past, as we've seen with other games like Defiance. The only problem with all of this is that you need a lot of people to have a good online experience. You need people with microphones. You need people who actually are going to get the system and be playing the same games that you're going to be playing. Well, as of right now, in this war of consoles, the first battle was won by the PlayStation 4. Now, it is still still early. We have a half a year to go before the console's release, and we're going to be getting more and more information. So I'll try and keep you guys up to date and let you know if anything does change. But as of right now, I'm leaning 80% to the Xbox, 20% to the PS4. When I first looked at it, saw the conferences, started my thinking, I was probably 50-50. And after thinking about all these things through, spending some time with it, really writing things down, looking at all of the actual facts, and forming my own independent opinion based off my own experiences, opinions, and like I said, these facts, this is what I came out with. Now hopefully my friends will get it too, because otherwise I'm going to be alone. Like I said though, I think it's worth it. For an extra $100, you're going to get the Kinect, which I think is really going to be awesome. You're going to get the voice control, all those features. I'm also going to be able to stay with the Xbox controller, which is a huge thing for me. There will also be some exclusive games for the Xbox that I'm really interested in. As for used games, that's really not going to affect me, and if I do decide to get a used games, it's just a few extra bucks to actually play it, which will probably also reduce the original buy price of the used game, although it will hurt the people who want to sell it. Again, not me. And then the presumably better online connectivity of the Xbox. There it is, ladies and gentlemen, my conclusion to the Xbox One versus PS4 console war so far. In the comment section down below, let me know which one you're planning on getting, the Xbox One or the PS4. And if you're switching consoles, don't forget to mention it. If you're new to my channel, don't forget to subscribe right down below. My name is StoneMountain64, and I have a lot more great content coming out very soon, including more coverage on this topic in particular. If you enjoyed the video, helped you out a little bit, want to show some love or support, click the like button, share it with your friends on some social media websites. If you want to follow me on those sites, Facebook and Twitter links down below, as well as links to some other videos you might enjoy if you're looking for something else to watch. That's it for me today though, ladies and gentlemen. This is StoneMountain64 signing out. See you guys next video.